the Vale of Kingsclere for our study area because it is situated only 30 miles away from Southampton in the northern part of Hampshire, and no other region within easy reach of our school contains better examples of the subjects we wish to study or fuller facilities for our work. The plan was to go to the Vale for 4 days, but first of all, a great deal of preparatory work had to be done. Models had to be made, maps had to be drawn, and a general plan had to be devised, each group using forms specially prepared for the subjects it was to study, to concentrate the boys' attention on the principal information required. Preparation went on for some weeks, and during this time, each group made itself familiar with its particular subject. The Chief Education Officer had always given us considerable support and took an active interest in our work. At a later stage of preparation, we discussed the route and gave each group a final briefing. At last, the time for departure had arrived. The equipment and personal gear were loaded, and soon we were on our way. For the next few days, Kingsclere Secondary Modern School was to be our home and study headquarters. It had been made available by the headmaster, who gave us every help and encouragement, and within a short time of our arrival, we sat down to tea prepared by the girls of the school. Early next morning, after study materials had been given out, all parties went to their allotted tasks. Geology and Natural History party made a collection of rock and plant samples, completed their forms, sketches and vegetation surveys. The party covering local industries had in the meantime made its way to Nuthanger Farm, which lies in the Green Sand Vale and specializes in dairy farming. The boys enjoyed watching the farm implements in use and were keenly interested in the animal husbandry and dairy side. Here again, forms were used, maps were drawn, and all farm operations were carefully watched and recorded. As a contrast, the Industries Party then visited Ashley Warren Farm, high on the dip slope of the Chalk Downs. Mr. Christian explains the layout of his farm. Ashley Warren specializes in beef production, poultry, and sheep rearing. For the first time, we saw hens being kept in batteries, and Mrs. Christian was just going into the battery house. Meanwhile, the history party had begun studying, among other places, the fine old church which forms the centre of the settlement. We were particularly interested in the fine old brasses of which we took rubbings.
Unfortunately, I'm the only specialist Phenix.
Mr. Garrett, the blacksmith, explained his trade in his ancient workshop.
And we can work from 6 in the morning to 6 at night, then have plenty to do. Now, unfortunately, the horse casting has died out, and the old farm work, wagon work, play repair all disappeared because they're modernized by the big manufacturer.
The settlement party mapped the town and made a house-to-house survey.
Good morning, madam. Good morning. We're going to serve Vale of Kingsclere. We're from Woolston Secondary School, say nothing. Would you mind answering a few questions first, please? I don't mind at all. Well, thank you. How long have you lived in Kingsclere?
10 years.
Where did you live before coming to Kingsclere?
Sheffield in Yorkshire.
What place did you...
At the end of each day, the work done was brought back to the school. Specimens were mounted and written work was completed and checked. Back at Woolston, the compilation of material was continued, and our efforts were concentrated on arranging an exhibition. The exhibition was to form the climax of our enterprise. Now our tape recorder came into its own, and parents were able to hear as well as see how our time had been spent.